Oh, so we know what that mirror picture cover thing was for, Moraine? Yeah, we found that out this week, huh?
This here is all about my wife, my kids, the life that I live. Through the night, I was his. It was right what I did. My ups and downs, my slips, my falls, my trials and tribulations, my heart, my balls. My somebody stop, somebody come and get me. Little did I know that the Lord was riding with me. The dark, the light, my heart, the fight, the wrong, the right is gone.
She comes, y'all. She comes. The Watcher of the Seals, the Flame of Tarvalon, the Amelin Seat. Oh, Lord. Swan Sanche. Hi, guys. This is Natasha, aka Natty Willie, and I'm here with TeamJVS to review for you The Wheel of Time, Episode 6, The Flame of Tarvalon. So if you have not seen any of my other videos, or if this is your first time here, yes, I am a book reader, but also just, make sure you comment below, let me know what you think about the episode, and definitely subscribe if you want to hear me talk about the show more, or even just check out our other videos. So again, episode 6. I gotta rock the blue. I got a little mix of colors, but gotta rock the blue a little bit in the brown because I gotta represent some of the Ajas that I consider my fave. Now, gray is definitely not really my fave, but it just happened to be what. Okay. Anyways, I was trying to do my own version of the Flame of Tarvalon, so just leave me alone. And Lorna Balfe did it again in this episode with the music. I love Swan's theme. Oh my gosh. So let's start off with the episode. We get a cold open of Swan Sanche. We learn a little bit more of her background. We get introduced to Swan as a little girl. In Tyr, we got a name drop as far as a city or, a country, Tyr. Her dad kind of sends her away after getting a symbol and their house burnt down, or their hut. And this was such a good scene, and I loved the little girl that was playing Swan and her dad, that relationship. Those first few minutes were just so good. Her dad was quoting some stuff already. We're coming out with the quotes like gangbusters, first thing in the episode. So when they were saying goodbye, it was just so heartfelt. One of the quotes that stood out to me for him was definitely, "A wise woman knows the breaking point of her line and to don't push yours." And so that was just beautiful. And then when he was saying goodbye to her, he was calling her a clever as Pike, the strong as the tides, daughter of the river. And that definitely played into who she's with later on in the episode, but that's later. And then also this another saying that even Swan had was the fish, touches the moon's reflection every night. It was just so you definitely get the sense that the women in Tyr are not safe as far as who can channel, and so them trying to hide it, and then eventually you see the effects of that, and then you also see how young Swan is when she started channeling. So you could be a preteen and start channeling. So again, if you harken back to the story that Nynaeve told to Ran about Egwene, now granted Egwene may have been a little bit younger than that, but they could have been both channeling when she was sick to help her get better. It feels like that definitely played a role in Egwene getting better and her being who she is today. I'll get back to Egwene and Nynaeve. So now we're at the Hall of Tower and we meet Swan as an adult with Sophie Okonedo. Sophie Okonedo. I loved her. She is Swan. This was one of the things I was definitely looking forward to the most, because Sophie is such a good actress, and I'm just loving her as Swan already. That's just black girl magic in effect, y'all. Just all of her scenes, just her emotions, just how she interacted with the other cast. I am so looking forward to more Swan. Y'all just not understanding. I'm looking for more Swan. It's not a joke. And shout out to Leanne, or the Keeper of the Chronicles, because I am definitely looking forward to seeing more of her. I liked her debut, and we're getting pretty much the after effects of Logain being gentled, he, lashes out. Because for him, it's, yeah, y'all took my power away, F all of y'all. And I'm like, no, bruh. Can you not, call my girl, Karina, be here? Like, what? Was that necessary? I'm guessing that was false vibrato on his part, but dang. But you also have to think, look what Logain was saying, especially, he could have been shooting, crap out of his mouth. Considering the fact that we got a flashback of, in Tyr, of people being afraid of Aes Sedai, or people that can channel, and then you have a Mavalda who's a jackass, who's just hates women that can channel, or just people with power in general. The suspicion and just the dislike of Aes Sedai is kind of like Logain's telling the truth in a sense, because outside of Tarvalon, people don't trust the Aes Sedai. The Two Rivers folk are a perfect example of that. And it was just, he made that point home, but I also feel like I hope Swan's paying attention to that. And even she feels like she's losing her grip, and Swan was trying to keep herself from going off on him. You could tell that, she was trying to keep her composure and deal her punishment swiftly and effectively, because this is, I feel like, the first guy that has proclaimed himself as the Dragonborn, as the false dragon, and then just also the fact that he was defeated too. He serves as an example, like she said, and then just the fact that they kept him alive. Or I feel like after they've gentled someone, they just let them go off on their own and not do anything about the after effects of it. So this is I think the first time they can actually really study someone, because he's in their custody. Swan is also needing to deal with Liandrin, who was in charge, didn't follow the rules. And Alana did give Moraine a look, kind of follow my lead, but also even earlier, just her reaction to seeing Moraine and Swan interact like that. I feel like she kind of knows there's more going on than anyone else. Liandrin will get punished because she did what she had to do. Swan was being fair with that. Moraine practically castrating herself, postrating herself. I guess I feel like that's the terminology for it, but just her prostrating, just pleading in a way. And I feel like that was just the play. It was just a play, really, because Liandrin was trying to call Moraine out. She brought Nynaeve, who's a really powerful channeler from the Two Rivers. She made sure to say Nynaeve's name correctly, mind you. Nynaeve Almera. She made sure that everyone knew her name. I think because of the eyes and ears for every Audra, not just the blue. So people can start kind of speculating on their own and kind of do their own investigation as far as who Nynaeve Almera is, other than being a powerful channeler, and who she's with. Again, just that play, y'all. That's Liandrin. I mean, she's very unlikable. Then the blues, they're keeping ish to themselves, and they're not telling anybody anything. And Megan, who apparently is among the leader of the blues, is look, this is our business. It ain't your business. But Liandrin's nah, we need to know what's going on. Part of y'all's purpose is y'all spies, right? Y'all supposed to let us know or forewarn us when it's about to go off. We're just now finding out about Trollocs. We're just now finding out about some other things. So I kind of don't blame Liandrin for that, because there's too many secrets. But it's again, she has her own purpose for even saying that. She wants to cause that discord. I feel like it served a dual purpose. I think it was also to gauge what Swan was going to do, because she said, Swan was the Blue Aja before she was raised as the Armland Sea. The fact that they kind of delayed Moraine's punishment was understandable. The fact that she was gone for 2 years, we kind of get a timeline as far as how long Moraine's been traveling and away from Tarvalon, or the White Tower. And then she still wouldn't say anything. Swan had to be you dare defy me? She had to say that. It's that was her way of knowing, okay, there's something more to this. That scene was just very that the politicking in that scene alone is just so good. Oh my gosh. And then you had that little powwow at the end of the meeting where Liandrin and her girls were your secrets are not gonna stay out for longer, you're gonna be dealt with, because even the Amlin doesn't like you. Moraine's trying to of course keep herself composed. And it's and I know Alana was kind of by beside her, and then the Waters, it was just kind of funny. It just felt like high school. The one group was oh, we're you're basing, and then the other group is like trying to like, you got that clash. So I'm just like, I was like, that's y'all just being funny. This is just the beginning of the Aes Sedai politics. We got hints of it in the last 2 episodes, and we're definitely getting in the midst of it now. Of course, with that scene, I love the shot of the Armelin going to her seat, the shot of the hall, and then like the upshot, and so it's like it looks like a wheel. So we saw kind of like a wheel shape when they were burying their dead. So again, it's very symbolic. Wheel of Time, hello. And I love the wardrobe. Just so many colors. They were just so vibrant, y'all. Leandrin was rocking her braids, or her mini braids, and then Moraine was wearing her Kisera. I was like, yay, we got the Kisera. Very appreciative. Thank you. We finally see the Kisera, because that was, part of who she was, or how she was described initially in the books. And that's not really spoiling anything. That's pretty much just what she wore. So I loved that. Like, that was definitely a nod. And did anyone notice like how sometimes the camera would pan to certain sisters during both meetings, both when Moraine got exiled and earlier when we had the initial meeting as far as Loghain's punishment? Did anyone catch that, especially with some of the Red sisters? Like, who are they? Are we gonna know their names eventually? Like, and then some other people too that they kind of like gleaned on. We got Megan from the Blue, and then other people from the Blue. So are we gonna get introduced to a few of them? Maybe I would want to know some of these other Aes Sedai other than Leandrin and her posse, and then and then Alana. Like, I want to get to know some of the other Aes Sedai. Yeah, that was just a good like first portion of this episode. Moraine finally knows where Matt and Rand are staying, because Nynaeve definitely wasn't telling her. Typical Nynaeve. Like, she didn't even think to inform Moraine that I found him already, so you don't have to worry about it. And the confrontation between them after Moraine heals Matt, that was actually a very good scene. And I know that Rand was trying to protect him, because again, he doesn't trust Aes Sedai, and just in a general sense. And it was like, yeah, it's nice to see you, but I don't really want to deal with you right now. But it's like, people keep on forgetting that Moraine knows how to heal at least a little bit with the one power. Whatever is going on with Matt, can she at least try and heal them? But I guess the concern is, of course, that he is the Dragon Reborn, because even he was like, he hasn't channeled, don't harm him. And it's like, you feel that fear that he has, and he, of course, he tries to defend, himself and Matt. But Lan, of course, disarms him easily. Poor thing. And then Moraine is like, you dumbass. in a wrong way, of course. And she's like, yeah, he took that from Shardar to Lagath. Like that, like she recognized that was something that was evil. And then she, with the one power, took away the connection. She gave that warning, like, if he touches the dagger again, like it's a wrap. He has that darkness in him, and it's going to consume him. So we need to keep him away from the dagger, please and thank you. Rand seems to have just a little bit more respect for Moraine now, because she took some of it into herself to remove it from Matt, and he saw that. And even though Nynaeve didn't see it, I don't know if she did see it, if she would have at least felt like at least Moraine is trying to do a good thing, even though she's being manipulative. But she doesn't want him to die. She doesn't. Even if her purposes may not align with what you may want. When Nynaeve comes back, she gets berated by Moraine, and I don't blame Moraine for that, because this is why sometimes Nynaeve's stubbornness doesn't help the situation, because again, Moraine knows how to heal. So I know you want to not really deal with the fact that you have power, 1. 2, didn't you not realize that with that power, you managed to heal everybody? So you're saying you don't want to at least learn a little bit more how to do that, so then you could help Matt? But you still want to stick to what you know because you're afraid. And that's part of Nynaeve's deal, as far as like, not only not dealing with Aes Sedai and the politics, which is totally understandable, again, like I mentioned last week, but just the fact that she has this power and she's afraid of it. You can tell, but unfortunately she doesn't have a choice. Like, she's gonna have to eventually reconcile that she has this power. I mean, come on, like, if you didn't have the power, Lan would be dead. Like, can you not understand that sometimes even with this power, you can do a lot of stuff with it? So I'm hoping that she realizes that as time goes on. Her stubbornness could have cost Matt his life. The darkness would have consumed him, and because she didn't know. Okay, so with Nynaeve, again, with that stubbornness, you've only been in the Two Rivers for however many years you've been there. You don't have the world experience that Moraine has, or the Aes Sedai. So, again, I get that you don't trust them, but there's got to be a middle road here. But then you kind of like, don't blame Nynaeve again, because later, when Moraine finds Perrin and Egwene, she didn't tell anyone right away, everyone's here. She even decided not to really tell Egwene that, hey, they're fine. She hinted at it, like, oh, I know that they're alive, but they're not arrived yet, or I'll let you know. That was her way of, twisting her words, telling the truth, but not telling the truth. Who knows how long she would have waited to even tell Nynaeve that Rand and Matt were there. But at least she would have already healed him before even telling Nynaeve. It really would have been interesting to see how that would have played out. But Egwene running her mouth a little too much, but she has that instinctive trust to Moraine because she's seen what Moraine can do with the One Power. 1, 2, just the journey that they had before they got separated. She has that respect for her, so of course she's gonna tell her about what's going on with Perrin and the fact that he can talk, or feels like he can talk to wolves, and his eyes are golden. But Moraine is right in telling her that you can't just be telling anybody this. You got to keep that close. And the Aes Sedai got their own agendas, and unfortunately is not to serve everybody. They serve their own purposes, which again, that's a flaw of the Aes Sedai. Yeah, you're supposed to be serving all here, but you are definitely serving your own purposes, and it comes off as manipulative. But I guess she needed to tell someone, because her reaction was definitely like she knows something, but not everything. And I did like the scene with her and Lowell. Like, she was very formal and she needed his help in getting them to the waves. But that's, again, later. And I did think it was interesting that part of Swan and Moraine's conversation precluded, before she got exiled, that she meets with Egwene and Nynaeve. And I think that was done on purpose, but let me build up to that a little bit. So we have a conversation with Moraine and Madden, one of the heads of the Blues, and she pretty much wants Moraine to stay at the tower while she goes out to find out what's been happening. I did think this was an interesting scene because we see how much information the Blues know, but are they really telling anybody? So, okay, Madden is saying that ships are disappearing from the west. Then you have Trollocs in the south, kind of like what Leandra's saying already. And then, she did let them know that Tar and Ferry got compensated because of the ship that, the little boat that you sunk. And the family, of course, and I'm sure they're pissed. And then just other stuff that's happening. And I do think that there's something going on with the ships. And yeah, I have an idea of why that's been mentioned. And her investigation of the foreshadowing. Oh my gosh, I did think that was another politicking scene that we got, and Moraine got a little sign, I guess, because that night we see Lan talk to Moraine, and again, I just love their relationship and their camaraderie with each other. And then we find out that Moraine is able to mask her bond, and he's like, "No, I gotta be able to protect you. This tower ain't what it used to be. We can't stay here. There's too much stuff going on here that it just feels wrong." And so she acknowledges that, of course, but it's like she needed that night to just not have him feel what she's feeling. And of course he understood that, and so he's gonna play guard like he normally does. She does order him to protect the Fab Five, and of course he's gonna take that seriously because he knows what's at stake. So we finally figure out what the significance of what she was staring at last week with the little picture box. So apparently that is a gateway for her to meet Swan. And if you notice, when she met with Egwene and Nynaeve later, she has a similar box or a picture box in her room. Hey! So now we get our first woman-on-woman relationship. I haven't really said this enough, but I am glad that they've organically introduced the concept of LGBTQ plus the community as far as like the types of relationships that could be had in this show. And I'm super happy because it definitely set that up for Swan and Moraine. And you know what? I like this way better, but I like this progress, but it just sucks because their time together was just so short and I wanted more. Like, I want more, and hopefully I'll get it. Because no telling when they're gonna see each other again. I hope they do get to see each other. Like, I'm really hoping here. I'm really hoping, guys. Because I like this relationship way better, and the chemistry, y'all. I'm for it. Sophie and Rosamund. Oh my gosh. And I did thoroughly enjoy their conversation. They're comparing notes, and Swan said, like, if people found out like what we're doing, we'll get stilled. Stilling is not a good thing. It's like gently, it's not a good thing. I'm glad that we got introduced to that like concept. We did get information about the foretelling, or like what happened and why they went on this mission in the first place, because they heard an Aes Sedai tell about the baby being born, and they said baby, that the dragon could be male or female. They didn't mention a specific sex. Moraine did mention, and this is how the contrast with Moraine and everyone else, and how she is with Swan, that she's so open and she can actually talk to someone about these secrets that she has. She has to talk to someone about it, and because they both heard the foretelling of the Aes Sedai, it's like she finally has someone to really discuss the situation. Moraine can be open with certain people, but not everyone, because she keeps a lot of stuff close to the vest here. And that sometimes serves her well, and that sometimes doesn't help her at all. In this case, like, they had to powwow so they can get a strategy. And because Magon wants Moraine to stay and they need to go, finally, Eye of the World has been mentioned. I've been wondering how they're going to do it. And I feel like in a way it was shoehorned in, but at the same time it wasn't, because it does tie into dreams and how dreams can either guide or forewarn or foretell things. She keeps on having the same dream. I feel like that was just a way of saying, hey, people are having dreams, and for some reason it means something. And she feels like the Dark One is weak at the Eye of the World. Why does she have that sense? And where's the tie-in for that other than the dream telling her this? It's just an interesting dynamic as far as, like, now we know about the Eye of the World and that they need to go there in order to stop the Dark One, or hopefully potentially stop the Dark One from being released from his prison completely, because she feels like she said, she feels like the Dark One is weak, and this is the time to strike pretty much while he's weak. But if Moraine needs to go there, and she needs to go there with whoever the potential Dragon Reborn is, because we still don't know for sure of the 5 who it is. Because again, Matt may be eliminated, but is he really? Because like Moraine said, he was strong enough to withstand the dagger as long as he has. So what is something going on with Matt? Could Matt be potentially the Dragon Reborn after all? But he just hasn't shown, other than his connection with the dagger, that he could be. So there's a little more mystery with Matt as far as like his abilities. So I mean, the candidates they're there, and they each could potentially, for whatever reason, be the Dragon Reborn, like, based on what we know. They need to go, and Moraine can't do that if she's stuck at the tower. That was very it was emotional, and I could tell that it was really hard for both of them, and they knew that, you know, they had to do it, otherwise it would just be pointless, and they would fail, and the whole world's at stake at this point. Like, they can't, as much as they want to be together and just live their lives like they want to and love each other, they can't. Their mission is too important. Duty is heavier than a mountain. Like, y'all. Oh, and I did want to note that I did like that their meeting place was kind of like the hut, a similar hut that Swan had in Tyr. That was a nice nod, especially from her past and her acknowledging her past. And I did like her tattoos and the fact that she got more. I'm like, yay, tattoos! I feel like there's more to that and the significance of them. But yeah, that conversation and just their camaraderie, and just like, you can tell that they've been friends for a long time, but also they have that intimacy. So it was just really nice to see, and just see Moraine in a different light. Like, you see her relationship with Lan, but you even see an even more of a difference with Swan. And even Swan, being like austere in the hall, and then you see that contrast like with her trying to like be that friend to Moraine and that lover to Moraine. So again, just excellent with Rosamund and Sophie. I just, wow. So right before Moraine gets her punishment or her exile notice, Moraine and Leandra got round 3. And Leandra is saying pretty much what she knows. Apparently she knows now about the Fab Five, and they're all from the Two Rivers, and the fact that they're in separate places. So I'm assuming that probably Yellow Sister blabbed her mouth as well as Lowell, especially if he's still at the garden, like hanging. And he needs to shut his mouth sometimes, but he's a sweetheart. Lowell's just a sweetheart. And Moraine needed to shut Leandrin up, and the only way that she could do that was pretty much tell her, well, I know that you got a guy, and folks don't want to know about your guy. Does this man channel? Why is Leandra keeping him? Especially since she hates men, or hates men channelers. What's that about? Because, you know, when we see her conversation with Nynaeve last week, she kind of like hinted that maybe she had like a bad past with a guy, probably like her father or some authority figure in her life that didn't like the fact that she could channel and try to suppress her, I guess, abilities or whatever. Moraine is like, you're such a hypocrite. You got a guy in North Harbor and you're harboring him pretty much, and you're talking about me and my secrets? You better get on. So I was like, yeah, shut her up, Moraine, please. I'm kind of glad that they had an impasse on that. She needed to be taken down. Like, yeah, if you're going to tell my shit, I'm going to tell your shit. That's pretty much what it was. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, Moraine. But then we get the meeting at the hall and the formal exile of Moraine. They did do, again, wordplay here. And then we have by the light of my birth and my salvation. Like, that's a definitely like line that's been like used a lot in the books, which I'm really happy that we got. And light of my salvation and rebirth, I think similar to that, something like that. And the oath itself and the oath rod, we get introduced to the oath rod. Apparently it's not just the 3 oaths that we use the oath rod for. We can use it for other oaths. Interesting how Moraine said the oath. It showed the intimacy of her and Swan, and the fact that they both got emotional about it, and just like, because she knows her, because she pretty much repeated what Swan's dad told her when she left to go to the White Tower, because they just had to do that. They had to do that. And then I guess the ceremonial part of it, of Moraine, the Aes Sedai turning their back on her, Leandrin was surprised by that, and Alana of course was disappointed, but I mean, it is what it is. But now Moraine is free to do what she needs to do. Take the Fab Five to the Way Gate. We need to go to the Eye of the World and try and defeat the Dark One. This is our way of trying to prevent the last battle if we can help it. But I want to get back to earlier in the episode, because before the ceremony we do get the reunion between Nynaeve and Egwene. So at least, hopefully that was showing Nynaeve, okay, Moraine can keep her word as far as like letting you know when people arrive, 1, and 2, that you can like interact with them. But Nynaeve again is stubborn. Like, she was basing her voice at the ominous seat. It's like she doesn't care. Like, she doesn't want this. That was emphasized again with the meeting with Swan. Oh, and Swan totally sniffed. We got a first sniff, y'all. Based on their conversation that Swan and Moraine had, like, Swan was also sizing up for herself, Egwene and Nynaeve, because Egwene was very much embracing just everything, the little subtleties there in that scene. Egwene bowing the same time as Moraine did, or, you know, following Moraine's lead as far as how to address the Amelin seat, but Nynaeve not really wanting to bow down in any way, shape, or form to the Amelin seat. Swan trying to be empathetic. The wheel has called you, so you need to step up. I get that you don't want this, and I sympathize. You think I want? I've been called to be the Amelin seat. I take it very seriously, so I need you to take it seriously. This isn't just about you. It's about everybody. The last battle is coming. Y'all need to... And again, Egwene being like, what we need to do. that contrast, y'all, that contrast, I just love it. And I did think it was funny that Egwene assumed that Swan was talking about her when talking about the most powerful channeler in ages, and it was pretty much, she was talking about Nynaeve. She has a point as far as like, can you get to the point? So I kind of thought that was funny, but I kind of don't blame her for that, because the play of words that the Aes Sedai have is like, she ain't got time for it. So again, that scene was just so awesome. And then the initial Moraine showing Egwene the hall of the tower, especially the Amelin seat. Yeah, just the hall in general, because you see the acquisitiveness and just like, okay, this could be me. I could be part of this organization. You see that awe of her, and compared again to Nynaeve. Nynaeve even wanted Swan to wait. But I do appreciate Swan, I guess, to help them be at ease, especially Nynaeve. They met in her room versus like procession or formal like meeting in the hall. But it worked in their favor, but I also think it will work in their favor later. And established Swan, the Amelin seat, is, you know, curious about these girls that Moraine brought from the Two Rivers, and the fact that they're both powerful, and the fact that, you know, Egwene brought rings back because she had a traumatic experience with Aemon Valdor, the White Cloaks. And I did find it funny that Egwene thought that she actually killed Valda. I just, like, poor thing. Like, you got him in the shoulder, bro. Like, you ain't kill him. But she's naive, and it is what it is. But again, that was a very good scene. And then we finally get to the Waygate. Finally, after a few episodes, our Fab Five is finally reunited. Yay! The Waygate, I did like the power that she used and the shape that the weaves that, you know, turned out to, it seemed like to be shaped like a leaf a little bit, but kind of like interconnecting. I thought that was interesting, and another nod. And just, you know, her candid conversation with everyone. Not, okay, she was blunt, but she wasn't blunt. But she explained it enough to make them realize, okay, yeah, we're about to enter the ways, and the end goal, we don't know what's going to happen. And she doesn't. That's the truth. They pretty much wanted to know if they were going to die. But she can't really say that because we don't know what's going to happen. They may miraculously survive, or, you know, assist the Dark One in sealing the Dark One's prison in their own way. And if they manage to survive all this, then we save the world. Yay! So that was just a good way to end the episode. Did Matt make it? Did Matt decide F y'all and just roll out? And like the Waygate was closing, he wasn't moving. I'm like, what? Because that's definitely different. And it's gonna be really sucky if in the next episode he like manages to, like, you know, throw himself over at the last minute. I hate when shows do that. Like, it's just, nah, can we not? Can you just decide immediately, like, you're gonna go or you're gonna just stay, and then you're gonna branch off into doing your own thing? So what happened to the dagger? Does Moraine have it? Does Lan have it? Like, who has the dagger? Like, wait, do they have him with them? Because I would think that if Matt was tempted by the dagger again, that he would want to follow so he can have just a little bit of a connection. It's just interesting to me. What happened to the dagger? I don't really have a clear picture as to what happened with it. Where is it? Is it at the White Tower now? Is Matt gonna go to the White Tower? Like, what? I'm not understanding that. It'll be interesting to see what happens next week with that. I just don't know. I don't know. Thanks, guys, for listening and watching and seeing my review. I really appreciate it. Definitely comment below. Let me know your thoughts of the episode. It'll be really interesting to see if you are noticing what I'm noticing. Just what you think is going to happen next. Like, what is the end goal here? Like, how are we going to get to where we need to be by the end of the season? Especially for my book readers, but still not try and spoil stuff. But, you know, yeah, just let me know what you think. And thank you guys for, again, listening to my, you know, watching my videos. I really appreciate it. Definitely follow me at WillCat12, TeamJVS. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. And definitely follow TeamJVS, because we do post a lot of videos. And we do, like, movies and other TV reviews. Like, you can check out our Hawkeye reviews. We did Chucky recently. So, yeah, just, you know, follow us. on social media. I'll be around, especially on Twitter. I try and like live tweet the show when it airs. So yeah, hit me up. But definitely comment below too. I'd really like to engage with the fans. Like, I want to know what y'all think, and I'm enjoying like some of the reactions that I've followed recently on YouTube. So yeah, I just like the freshness of the non-readers, but also like, at least some of the book readers, they have their concerns, and some of their concerns are valid, but also I get what where their thought process is. I still think at its core it is Wheel of Time for me. So thanks guys, I'm out.